desert, leaving Egypt, and welcome everybody online. So Shabbat Shalom and happy Passover.
Thank you, Chris and Holly, for bringing such wonderful music to us tonight.
Absolutely. It's all good. So one of the things about Shabbat and Passover is they fit together very well in that place of going out of Egypt, that expansive sense of freedom is really this space that we're entering into on Shabbat. So we'll get to enjoy together. Anybody celebrating any birthdays this month of April?
Yay.
Amy. And you got one too? All right, well, we've got give our blessing here, and we've got some candy for you guys.
Always good. For your birthday, blessed be the source that dreamed the day of your presence here on earth. May you feel embraced, enfolded anew by the miracle of your being. May you find the deep purpose of your soul, loved and cherished into becoming who you are meant to be. May inevitable dark gifts of hurt and loss school you in strength and perseverance. May you find holiness when you look into the eyes of someone who loves you. May you be a source of holiness for others. May you treasure and develop your uniqueness and be a blessing to all you meet.
Amen. All right, Amy, do you want a Twizzler or a gummy bear?
And Evan.
I got gummy bears too.
All right.
All right. And let's also Sabrina and Evelyn, would you come up and lead us in lighting the candles? Want to invite everybody else to stand as we bring in Shabbat together on this Passover week. Just squeeze it. Easy, no safety. Just squeeze it. If it works. Almost. Yes. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, you guys. You may be seated. We're on page 18 in our prayer book, L'chadodi.
Shamor v'zachor, shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad, yishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet.
For 4 days. So imagine, a year-old lamb is pretty darn cute, right? Think about families, children. Each one had to get one and bring it into their own home. Sometimes families would come together, and in 4 days, you would be pretty attached, maybe, to this cute little lamb and the lamb is bleeding, B-L-E-A-T, bleating for through those 4 days. And the thing about these lambs, too, is this is a sacred animal for the Egyptians. It's like in India, the sacred cow. This is Egypt's sacred lamb. And so all of a sudden, in this land of Goshen in Egypt, each Israelite family has this lamb, and all the Egyptians around are hearing this bleeding happening of the lamb, and they're the sacred animal. They don't know what to do, and all of a sudden, after 4 days, they're asked, the Israelites, to slaughter the lamb that they've built this connection to. And as we know, they slaughter it, and they do it outside. So imagine all these yards or spaces in front of their homes, and in full view of all of the Egyptians, they're doing something that's radical, right? They're going against everything. The Egyptians could come after them. It could do all of this, but they're following this larger thing from God to do this and to put the blood on the doorposts. And only 1/5 decided to do it because it was risky. It was difficult. I mean, even in this last century, during 1940 in Germany and Europe, there was warning signs of things that were coming, and very few people actually left right away. Whether it was because people couldn't imagine what was coming, that there could be something that evil, or whether it was that I don't want to move out of what's comfortable for me, and so I'm going to rationalize it's not going to be a big deal, it's not going to be whatever. And then at some point, for many, it was too late. They weren't willing to take that step. And a lot of the Israelites couldn't take that step towards freedom. But those who did, they put the blood on the doorposts, and when the angel of death in the last plague came over, they were spared. But 80% of the Israelites, according to the Midrash, they died. Yes. They died. Yeah, they died with all the rest. But not only did 80% die, there were Egyptians that decided to sacrifice it too. They put the blood on their doorposts. The rabbis comment that in the Torah it says there was a mixed multitude that left Egypt. It wasn't just Israelites. There were some Egyptians that left too, that said, this is something I can't go with this reality. I'm going to go into this new world that's happening. So really the point is this was a radical step. Freedom meant going against what was known and what was comfortable. And so what I just want us to consider is that for each one of us, we have our own Mitzrayim. We have our own places of things that we're not ready to take a step towards greater freedom in our lives, whether that's inner freedom or outer freedom. And that we can go ahead and do our Passover Seder and our Passover rituals every year, but unless we really consider for ourselves, what is it that we need to do in order to live in a more free and engaged way, it's never going to happen. So what I want to bless us this rest of our Passover time is to reflect upon what are the ways that we see ourselves or the world that feels a little limited, that feels a little contracted. What would it mean to be able to take a risk, take a step, and towards greater freedom? And it might be scary, and it might be radical, but it might be what we need. Shabbat Shalom. We have an opportunity for a healing blessing for people in our lives that are struggling with physical illness, mental illness, or addiction. So I invite you, whether you're tuning in online or here with us today, to just bring to mind the people that you want to include in our circle. You can say it out loud to yourself. And Meshubarech is on page 63.
May the source of strength blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekol bracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
That's right. Okay, we're going to conclude our service with a version of Aleinu, Matisyahu's One Day, and the last line of Aleinu will join together. So if you'd like to stand and sing and move and stay warm, go for it.
One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing, then I pray don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I'll never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. One day, 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 one day.
Do you happen to have another? I was given last week's. Oh, you got it? Okay. You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 73. This is last week. Yeah. So we actually don't have the Kaddish sheet for this week. So is there anybody here who's saying Kaddish? Please say the name. Thank you. Irma. Thank you. Thank you. Dave. Okay. And if you're tuning in with us online, please just say the name of the person that you're saying Kaddish for, and we'll include them. We're also continuing to mourn the loss of Bella Rosenberg, the mother of our member Annie Rosenberg, who's still in the Shloshim. And we continue to remember parents of our members who passed away within the last year. Les Heinel, David McKee, Dr. Leonard Feynman, Jacob Lazarson, Seymour and Miriam Wilkson, Leon Silverstone, Howard Sidney Slusher, Ruskin Berglund, Zita Gluskin, Dorothy Eisen, Celia Levine, Muriel Engelman, Diana Lynn Plosker, and Judith Kovach. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. You may be seated. So, big gratitude to our First Friday sponsors and committee who make this so special. Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. online, like always, and our Saturday morning minyan has a special Shabbat and Passover service in our chapel at 9:15. We're still looking for greeters on Friday for Friday services and Saturday services. So if anybody can help out on a Friday or Saturday, please do. And then join us next Saturday, April 15th, for an epic celebration at our Beers and Cheers party with live music from the band of Milk and Honey, the original band, I hear, with delectable treats and dinner off the grill, beer, dancing, games, and a limited edition TBE etched beer stein for you to take home. You won't want to miss this awesome night. Help us also reach our annual fundraising goal. Have an amazing time with friends on May 13th, celebrating new beginnings with music from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Heavy hors d'oeuvres will be served, early bird pricing available. Come and dance the night away. Keep your eye out for great auction items. And we'll still have more to celebrate for the rest of Passover. Our Tuesday night Refuat HaNefesh, Marty Stein, Refuat HaNefesh minions at 6:30 online. Wednesday morning, we will have services at 9:30 in our chapel with Yizkor, and hope that everybody will be able to join us for something. So we'll conclude with Kiddush. Please stand. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemaaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lamikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh Hashavat. You have such beautiful Kiddush cups. Take a nice swig.
Our challah is looking a little flat this week.
And also, just Alan and Evan, thank you as always for bringing great music, and thanks everybody for coming out today. Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I never